There we go. All right, we do have a quorum here. We're starting the meeting a little late, but that's just the way it was, and it's 6:08, close enough to say we're opening the meeting. We have a quorum, three members here. Pledge of allegiance, please. Gil, if you'd lead us.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Does anybody have any added agenda items? Don't get up, Gil. Okay, any Brian, you got anything? Gil? No. All right. Public participation. Hi, everyone. I had to leave. I just
Is
had
anyone
to
on?
go.
Anyone on Zoom?
I don't think so. Unfortunately, probably not. There's some button on there.
Only that open in case.
So public participation. I would like to welcome Danielle. What's your last name?
Miller,
Miller, and your official title here in town?
Assistant Town Planner, and I'm the Zoning Enforcement Officer and the Wetlands Agent.
Couple hats.
All right. Thank you for coming tonight and
Thank
being our
you.
staff person. Okay, no public participation minutes. I would need a motion to approve in a second, please. If you want to make a motion with any changes, feel free.
Move to accept the minutes of May 3rd. I'll make a second.
Moved in second, any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, under general discussion, because we do have a guest speaker tonight, I'd like to start with item C. Transit Authority, Crosstown Transit, etc. And Margaret Smith Hare is here from Nutmeg Senior Rides, who provided us with the research that we're all reading faithfully. I got about 2/3 through Margaret, so I apologize. But it's interesting because Margaret is involved with senior rides, but it's the same kind of thing, how to transport people around town. And she spent many years going to many hearings and knows a little bit more about the transit program. So with that, Margaret, I'm gonna let you take over. How's that?
I'm gonna of the map.
Okay,
And then this is the brochure of our program. One of the things that was in that report that came out of Torrington
Right.
was, and that one was directed at seniors. I know your project is directed at more than seniors, but problems that people have are that many of today's transit programs are curb to curb and they don't cross town lines efficiently. So if you look at the map of what we do, if you live in any one of the 10 towns that we serve, we can take you to any of those towns plus anything else that's on this map. And so frequently what happens is that people in Enfield, East Windsor, Somers, any of this arena have medical appointments in Farmington. They have medical appointments in Glastonbury. They have eye surgery in Newington, which is now over the line in Rocky Hill. So when we first started, we were just going to stay within our footprint.
right.
And then we discovered over time that that wasn't really serving the people that we were here to serve. So we kept moving, and New Britain is on this map. I had a call today from a lady who needs her aunt to go to Southington, but it's close to the New Britain line, and we're gonna go do it. We're not changing the map, but because we are an independent, not-for-profit, we can make those kinds of decisions. And
Right.
we're not regulated. One of the first things we did was we had the DOT told our then president that our volunteers would have to get public service licenses. And we said, well, that's not gonna fly. Volunteers are not gonna, why volunteer for us if
Right.
you have to go get fingerprinted and pay money? So we actually hired a lawyer, or we got a free lawyer, but the lawyer was Senator Kissel and Senator Harris. Introduced us to the then chair of the Transportation Committee at the state legislature. And they passed a law that says that volunteer transportation networks for seniors are exempt from state liberty. So it's a really critical part of our ability to be so flexible. But we do things nobody else does. This Thursday, we're taking a lady from Spring Village to Enfield for a week. Memorial Day weekend, we took a woman from Delamere Woods and Windsor to West Springfield to visit her daughter who'd been in a car accident. It gives you the flexibility to do things like that that really make a big difference in people's lives. The reason why I wanted to talk to you is because it's a mixture of staff and volunteer drivers. And that's one of the things that I don't want you to ignore when you think about solving transportation problems in this country, because it gives you flexibility to increase capacity or decrease capacity without a lot of fanfare. And we've spent a couple $100,000 a year in staff and paid drivers and reimbursement and volunteer mileage. But the imputed value of the time of our volunteers is an extra $100,000. So
Say that again, I'm sorry.
the value of the time that our volunteers each year,
Right.
we pay them for their mileage, they volunteer their time. But we calculate the value of that.
Okay,
The value of that time that's essentially donated to us, it's an in-kind donation, is $150. So the finances, I think you probably see the same thing in your fire department, in your ambulance department. So that structure of a few paid people and a whole bunch of volunteers makes rural America flat. And that's really what this is a rural America program with a mixture of, in April of 2020, when COVID hit, everybody shut down, but we did not. We gave 180 rides in April of 2020 because we had customers who needed to go to dialysis. And they had no other way to get there. And so we got some money from the Hartford Foundation to sanitize our cars. We had staff on that gave those rides. We put them in the back seat. Everybody had a mask. Nobody got COVID, thank God. But we went from 180 rides in April of 2020 to 851 last month. Now, in February, we were approached by the Enfield Cancer Center because they had a water damage problem. And they needed somebody to help take their Enfield patients to Hartford. So we went to our volunteers. We added hours of our paid staff. We usually drove in those days about 6,000 miles a month. In March, we drove 12,000. And that's the difference. We were able to double our capacity in order to help the cancer patients. And it's reopened now. They're doing radiation. We're still taking people directly for chemo. But we had the ability to make that shift with extra help from our volunteers and also extra hours from the staff.
So
So I just want you to think about the economies of that kind of a model.
the volunteers sound like what you had to go to make this work. In other words,
Oh, the
Ron's
mixture
was-
is, the mixture is critical. And he would have been a volunteer, but he did other things.
she kicked me off. Volunteers are in-kind service, which can
Right.
also be traded in for rides for the family members. Is that still
No, no. We pay them for their mileage.
Volunteers
We pay them now for all of our volunteers. We pay them for their
for,
mileage.
for miles, but not a paid staff. Now,
We don't pay them for their hours.
okay, a paid staff, is that with benefits? You have to pay benefits?
No, they're all part-time.
Okay.
They're just covered by workers' comp. Now, the one thing we do though, and we've always done this, is if you donate a vehicle to us, and it's a vehicle that we're able to use to give rides, because we have cars for our staff, then we give those people free rides forever.
What happens when the vehicle breaks down?
Usually goes to the junkyard. These
Jim
guys-
drives it. What do you think I was doing? Have you seen my car out there? Come on.
One of the cars has 195,000 on it, one of them has
Wow.
240. We just got a Honda Civic that has 50. And ask me next year how many miles the Honda Civic will have.
Who does your?
And commodity, United Auto down in East Windsor.
Right down toward the town line. The South Windsor town line, right across
The
from.
Oh, yeah,
last-
sure.
Last
On
on
the
the
right.
right. as
On
you
the
go
right,
down.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
right across from
262
Henry's.
South Main Street.
Henry's and Music Barn, right across from there.
Yeah, really good people.
So the key though was changing the actual state law on the volunteer type thing.
It's the only reason why we were able to function.
Now, I'm on the board of directors for Greater Hartford Transit,
Right.
and we had trouble hiring people because you have to wait so long to get the public service license. It was from 3 to 6 months after you get fingerprinted. That has changed to 6 weeks since the COVID and the need of drivers.
But what's the cost involved? In other words,
Well,
if I'm-
$25 for your for motor vehicle, they want theirs. $10 for your fingerprints.
Right.
Uh,
And then the cost of the actual license itself.
Switch over, that's another $25.
But see, we don't have to have. those
No, you
service
said that.
licenses because we're exempt.
But if we were to do a crosstown transit, and I'm just discussing, I have no idea how we're gonna pull this off. But if we did a crosstown transit and we wanted to do it with volunteers, we would have to either pay for out of the kitty that you would collect to do such a thing, pay for their licensing to get the volunteers, or change the actual law, which.
We are not, we wouldn't be a 501c3 like.
No, well, you would utilize the town, we would
Yeah.
utilize whatever needs we need to. I'm just saying, we're at the infancy of trying to figure this nut out.
Well, that's what's so much fun. And go to the Northwest Connecticut Regional Transit page, because they are the ones that commissioned that study that I sent to you.
Okay,
And I don't know these people personally, but I went on some of their programs to look before this meeting, and they did some very interesting things.
which we could imitate. yeah.
And so, let's say we developed a regional capacity, which is what really makes sense. I
Right.
grew up in Massachusetts. We have counties. In Massachusetts, counties work, right?
Right,
In Connecticut, you have fiefdoms. So doing a regional thing is tricky, I understand that. But let's say you had a regional transit program that was its own 501c3. We could then go back to the legislature and ask them to expand that law that's already city. Just take the restriction.
there's some natural nexus right now for us in the area, so that's something that certainly.
And John
consider.
Kissel still,
Yeah.
still in the legislature.
We have the magic carpet, right, infield.
Yep.
That, I guess it's sunsetted the.
Yeah, but that's
The
geared to
grant, the
seniors
base.
though, isn't
No,
it?
no, no. Magic
No,
Carpet's
this is geared to seniors.
Right,
Magic Carpet is not. Magic Carpet has a bus stop. Just go right out here. and it comes.
But I think
Top
you
on
need
the
to
bus.
look at your customer base. Do they need something that's more door to door? Are the people that are not driving, people that can't drive?
right.
We have customers, that's why we went to 50. Because we were 60, and we went to 50 because people between 50 and 60 are in a gap by themselves. They don't qualify for senior buses, they don't qualify for anything. They have diabetes, they have sight issues, they go to work.
Right.
For years, we went to Windsor Rocks and picked up Nancy Bennett at 7 o'clock in the morning and took her to Geisler's to work as a cashier.
Yeah.
Nancy Bennett, we took her to work 5, 6, 7 years until she retired. So there are people with needs like that to go to work, who don't drive for one reason or another.
There's a CT ride just for that purpose. Also, for people who ride to work, but it would be not just come pick up Gilday, it would be come to pick up a group of people. Say you had 5 or 6 people who want to go to Hartford from Mill Pond. A bus would go into Mill Pond. Those 5 or 6 people would get on that bus. It's called CT rides, no matter what the age.
You have to be in the same location to be picked up.
Well,
You have 5 people.
Right, it's almost
at
like.
one
a-
stop.
maybe, I don't know. I just know they pick them up for work. And it could be Main Street, Mill Pond, North Road, but in that route.
Well, and we're looking to the transit part, which is transportation of people from here, say to Route 5 to the Connecticut bus line, for
Right.
instance. None of our people up here could take advantage of the free programs because they don't have a bus. But we're also looking at the other avenue, which is bringing people from that side of town or people like in the hotels down on Route 5
Sure.
into the Broadbrook Village Center here,
Right,
which we're creating hopefully a artsy, walkable type of facility. So that's why I say what you're telling us is very important because there's a lot of things like the thing about the volunteers, I didn't know that. And so now I know that at least if we decide to do something, we decide to get volunteers involved, there's going to be some cost at some point somehow with that because of the licensing, if nothing else.
but see, we don't pay.
Right.
We've changed the law and we've never
Right,
started
because-
with a dime.
Right, because you were able to change it to seniors, maybe we could take that same law and,
All you need to do is lift the senior out and redefine it.
well, that's what I'm.
Because there is BESB, the state agency for the blind, because we also serve the blind of any age, if 18 and over. Went and put an addendum on that law that says, and vision impaired people. So
It's something. we
it's a
need to look at.
creative way somehow to redefine, maybe, I'm just saying maybe.
No, it's government.
But the lawyer that helped us is still where she was when we moved. The Pro Bono Partnership in Hartford serves nonprofits and finds access to free legal advice for not-for-profits. And so I just encourage you to think about forming a not-for-profit because it would give you more flexibility.
In the long term, it would.
I think so.
Yeah, and like I
Gil
said,
would chair the board.
well, of course, and that trip to Vegas would be part of
Uh-huh.
our,
Yeah.
but no,
Yeah,
this-
I've
like
only
I
ever
said,
gotten
we're
to
for,
Portland, Maine.
Margaret, I don't mean to cut you short, we gotta run a meeting, but this is like great information. Gil, you had one more comment? or statement?
I wanted Margaret just to tell us about a short synopsis of the history of.
Oh, excellent.
Import that you mentioned.
Oh, yes, we were originally part of a national network. It's called the Independent Transportation Network. And that's really what, when we started, there was a woman who formed this organization who had come to Hartford to speak to the legislature. And that's when Senator Harris met. And Senator Harris, Edith Craig, Julia Evans Starr, who was then chair, executive director of the State Commission on Aging, really brought these programs.
And was it in Portsmouth, the lady you speak of,
Mhm.
was from Portsmouth, and there was a situation where someone was hit by a vehicle or was in.
Her child was hit, and so she used senior transportation for her master's thesis. So it's just interesting to see how an idea like that can. We just didn't renew the contract because they wanted to charge us a lot.
No, we don't have it.
No,
It's
no,
not so-
that's why I figured I'd come.
Yeah.
We're all talking on the same level.
How much you pay for this logo, which is pretty cool.
Zippo, Ink Spot did it for me.
Really?
I told Mike we were leaving ITN
Mhm.
and he said, I don't know if you know him. it's just-
I know Mike.
And so I said to him one day, we're gonna be leaving, I'm gonna need a logo. He said, not a problem, I got an idea.
It's amazing what you get up, just ask.
Just tell him where you go.
Thank you, Margaret. I appreciate you coming
You're
down.
welcome.
And
Nice
that
to meet you all.
that information you sent us was helpful too, believe me.
Yeah, now that was the result. The state put up 5 planning grants. And Enfield got one, they used it to hire Chris Casey to do marketing.
Right.
West Hartford got one, they used it to hire UConn to survey the need. New Britain, Red Cross got one, but I don't know what they did with it. But Torrington got 50,000 and they hired that consultant, who did a great job.
So look at that site. and see what we-
Yeah,
Again, thank you. I
you're
appreciate it.
welcome.
That's Northwest Transit?
I believe it's,
Connecticut Transit.
it's,
No, not.
if you Google, I Google
Northwest.
regional transportation in Connecticut,
Yeah,
Okay,
and there are like 5 or 6 regions that have transportation networks. But the one that looks to me to be the most developed, see, I'm a door-to-door person.
right.
I've learned that from my customers. If they need door-to-door and they need assistance. And buses and curb to curb don't satisfy what they need.
Right, and there's different
So,
niches,
Yeah,
absolutely,
everything is different. So, you
absolutely,
know,
but what we're trying to do, this might be an avenue to go. as you showed
Absolutely.
us, so,
yeah, I don't
thank
know.
you. All right, I'm gonna
But
move
don't
on.
forget that Gil's gonna cheer the board.
He's already told me that. He said something about a stipend, and I don't know.
Yes, definitely. Thank
But, Margaret, thank you again.
You're welcome.
you, thank you for your time.
Oh, anytime.
We have your number.
Yes,
This was
and I
our-
just need to find out which door is open. I unlocked the door.
You're all set. Well, you gotta leave $20 to get out. Come on.
to the left.
That's wonderful. That's stuff we're looking for.
Skating.
All right, moving on, we've got the commercial real estate promotions, and as I told you, we're gonna leave on the agenda. We always discuss things, but there is no updates for that. All right, it's an ongoing process. I don't know if we've gotten any response to the town hall or not, but it never hurts. It's one of those deals where we're more trying to just get our name in front of people, and we might even figure out a second letter to send. Again, it's cost of postage is what it's costing us, so. Bill Arts, however, from Hometown Realty, his company has been doing some commercial and I've been snagging it, promoting it, and same with, another gentleman that I don't even recall his name, but I saw it online.
What kind of commercial?
Just a commercial property in East Windsor they got, and I'm just pulling it over. If it's a legitimate MLS listing, there's no reason for us to not promote it if it's in East Windsor. And that's what that's all about. All right, Five Village. I love that. Bruce said it's supposed to come off the tongue. Well, I bet you all thought I wasn't doing anything, but this will be our first one, and it will be hokey. That's why my name's Jimbo. But it's to create interest, because of course, as usual, we put out there, oh, send us your information, let us help you, and you know the response I got.
Yes.
So this is the initial page of it. This guy is, it's called Five Village, because it's all gonna be electronic.
Say it. Okay.
I can say Graziati after 20 years. It took me that long to say that right. Both Ted and Ed gave me a hard time. It's prepared by the East Windsor Economic Development Commission, planning staff, and various community groups. That covers anybody that might give me information. The intent of this guide is to be updated once a month. We're into June. This is the June guide. I already know dates passed, but I wanted it to come to this commission first. And it's provided as an electronic information guide to your visit. A printed few to be available in East Windsor Town Hall. When I get them printed, I'm gonna probably get them for free. I'm sure the chamber will find a way to accommodate a few of those. let's see, East Windsor, Connecticut is not only the center of north central Connecticut, I like that, but she boasts 5 unique villages with a different flavor in each one. From shopping, small niche to box store to entertainment, Village of Broadbrook has the hottest live music venue in the area, to museums of our town, state, and national history. Village of Warehouse Point has an excellent armed forces memorial. Farming has also been a major part of life here in East Windsor, and you can find multiple farms from produce to livestock. East Windsor also boasts many passive recreational opportunities such as our East Windsor Park, parentheses, the res, because so remember, we're doing day trippers. That's really what this is geared for. And the Scannick River State Park, maintained by our American Heritage River Commission. I just found that this error, but it's okay. Then in dark bottom, it says the only thing you have to be careful of when you visit the 5 villages, you may want to stay. Okay, so that's how it starts. Then Agnes Gallery. Jeff had me information within 24 hours, so he's gonna be first. And it shows who he is, when his gallery's open, and the fact that he has artists events. He has one a month at this point.
Where's that?
Agnes Gallery, right next to the damn restaurant.
Okay.
You ought to go in there. I got some crazy paintings in there that will scare you about my mental condition. I also have on here Shagbar Pickery Farm does a charity thing. And because they're a farm, I like to include them, and they got August 6th is their date of it. Again, this is electronic. If somebody wants to know more, they can Google stuff. I'm not gonna run around getting information. Broadbrook Opera House, they put out a thing about their June schedule. So we've got that there. I also encourage people to come get a picture by the mural. I think that's important to help promote Broadbrook as an arts center. Next thing, the summer concert series from their Park and Rec. They're free. If I'm in town or I'm here on business and I see something like, so this is all tourist trap stuff.
And vendors go to that, say if you have a hot dog wagon or?
No.
No,
No,
nothing?
it's Park and Rec. It's Park and Rec. It's very closed and.
Just the music, bring picnic,
Yeah, it's just,
Bring it on.
it's
wine
just.
bottles?
I don't think.
Yes, the Board of Selectmen approved beer and wine. And
Your own?
you
Bring
can
your own
BYOB,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Yep,
Really?
yes.
Yeah.
We did it
That makes a
last year as
difference.
well, and there were no issues, so we did it at our last meeting again for this.
Sounds like a bottle of wine at the rest.
When's the first concert?
The first concert is June 16th. That's next week, right? No, yeah,
Yeah.
next week.
Thursday.
And it's the Leaf Jumpers, 90s today. But they've got many going on, so that's in there. Connecticut Trolley Museum. Gina puts out a press release. I happen to have a copy of it for whatever reasons. And so I grabbed all their stuff they've got going on. So there's all about the Connecticut Trolley. That's a good draw. And the fact they have events planned ahead allows us to promote them ahead. Here's the hiking at the Scannick River. I might get in trouble for this because I got a feeling that's a town hall number, but oh well, that's what the town website gives for the American Heritage River Commission. And I couldn't find any maps of the trail, so hopefully, well, the thing about this is it's tomorrow. Dick Sherman called me and said, Jim, I got a PDF of the thing. We can at least put it in or get it in the next month's issue. Historical Society, the museums on the green. I'm waiting for some information from them, but in the meantime, I I should watch how I say that. I borrowed
Yeah.
their information, which shows you,
That's East Windsor's number, so you don't have that.
no. Do you know how close that is to my own number?
8122?
The first 3 of those is different. So anyways, they're in there. And then for other resources, in other words, there's other ways to find out information about East Windsor. I put in the town's community and now take it to the town website. I put in the East Windsor Chamber of Commerce, the North Central Chamber of Commerce, and the State of Connecticut Tourism. They've got an actual Visit Connecticut site. Well, that was supposed to be at the end. I knew I mixed this up somehow. I just did it right. Anyhow, and I am missing a page. I
Yeah,
apologize.
where is this gonna be right now?
Right now, it's sitting wherever I want it to sit. It's not printed. It's all just rough draft
Can we
document.
put it on like the town website or is it
We'll be putting it on our Facebook page when we're done.
good?
Okay.
Okay.
The thing missing here, I'm sorry, I actually printed it out unless I lost it.
Beyond, like Brian said, beyond Facebook, because not everyone's on
Right.
Facebook.
No, I
So our
intend to.
website,
Well, but you gotta remember with websites, and when you're dealing with the town website, it's not instantaneous. And it needs to have a longer life. This is gonna have a shelf life of a month, then we can reprint it for up here. That's why I say there'll be a little printing cost, the chamber will pick it up. Now, the thing missing is all the restaurants' names. See this yellow here? I had all 27 restaurants, I have it there, and it looks just like that yellow color.
Yeah.
And that way they can Google all 27 restaurants. I even included Crafted Kitchen, which just opened recently. So if you hear of a new restaurant, let me know.
did we have a little periodical, little newspaper that came out once a month, the 5 villages?
That comes out on a seasonal basis.
uh,
And that is a pay for advertising. We're not charging anybody that's in this a dime.
So that could go in that, it's a season thing.
Yeah, and what they put in there, we can write something up in there that if people want to get this, okay, there's a way to, but this is just this is like the crawl moment. So again, the restaurants we got listed, but I also have banquets, meeting rooms, large and small, and you'll see there's some on there like Nutmeg's on there, and of course, Days. But also Sophia's Restaurant and Main Fish Market have meeting rooms in the back there. I don't know if you've been in there, but they do. Hotels and lodging, I've got all 3 there. And then Traveler Services, I put Amtrak, Bradley Airport, and Connecticut Transit. I couldn't think of anything else. Then, this is supposed to be the last page. I knew it didn't look great. As you can see, this is a really small copy of the farms, but that's what I could find. And it's a complete listing, I believe, of all the farms in town. Might even be a few that don't exist anymore. But that's another part of tourism. Tourism will take strange ways. Now, my hope is we put this out and somebody that's not in it or somebody that doesn't have information, like the farm, Shagbar Pickley Farm I put there. Well, maybe the Reikleys might want to do something. I'm not saying they have to, but they can give us info, you know? The Flower Power down there, they do Santa Claus every year. If we get that for the winter type of stuff, you know, this is gonna adjust as time goes on. Certainly if somebody says to me, hey, Jim, can we do this in such a way that it looks a lot better? Absolutely. Do you know how? Because I'm limited and I admit it. But if somebody with a computer says, hey, I'd like to fix it up and put some, all this information can be provided to somebody to adjust. I'm trying to think if there's anything I've missed. Sarah?
Is there a way to possibly link it to a hotels page or something for people that are coming into town to, you know what I mean? Just
When
to
you have it
attract
on
the
a
new
document,
people?
it's tough. If we were to load it as just a one-time thing,
Right.
I think we could do that, and I'm not suggesting we don't.
Mhm,
We tried to create a website, which, as far as I'm concerned, is gone.
mhm,
Right now, I know the town website is limited, not
Right,
bad mouthing it. I'm
No, I
aware of
understand.
how computers work.
right,
So for the moment, what we're trying to do is just have something. So
right.
let's say Sarah gets a call as a selectman from somebody in Wisconsin, and I'm using that as a joke. She'll be able to contact us and say, can you send this to them electronically? The Chamber of Commerce will absolutely promote that the Economic Development Commission is doing this. Because a lot of these guys on here are members, even non-members, but it doesn't matter. Because the chamber believes all business is good. Okay, so, I mean, we're kind of set up to promote this.
How about the bubble with the soccer? You have so many-
Sports world,
Sports world, you have so many different people from different towns. They have tournaments there all the time. Get something out,
they're the type that we would actually give this to.
right?
Because they don't need to advertise to get people in, but when the people come in,
We want our information.
right, we don't want them scooting out of town without stopping by. and
Well, that's what I mean,
Right.
just
Even outdoors,
Yeah.
in the season right now, I go drive by on the loop and you see them playing soccer.
Right.
That'd be on the way to the golf. tournament.
Yeah, they have soccer, lacrosse, just,
Yeah.
restaurant. I used to go to those things, you're always, what's
Oh,
the
yeah.
nearest restaurant, where's the,
Well, that's why I say we'll make print, and the first one is definitely Hokie. I mean, if you say, Jim, this is country style, you betcha. But the point is to get it out there because people are not gonna respond. They will respond if all of a sudden it's out there and their name isn't in there or they're not focused on, which is fine. You can fix it for the next one. And that's the beauty of something like
Also,
that.
Jim, one other thing, it's a little, not exactly this, but do people move into town? Do we have some kind of brochure or
welcome
something?
package?
Yeah, do we have that?
Well,
This is the church. this is
Right.
the store,
we could
this is
start.
the Service station.
Right, well, we could start doing something like that, but that starts to get very, when Margaret was talking about volunteers. This is very staff heavy if you make it count. I'm not against it,
Yes.
but that's probably further down the road. I would love for the town to do welcome packets.
So you coordinate something with the real estate agents. With the closings and stuff like that.
Well, when we put it out, when I say I'll put it out and the chamber will grab it, when the chamber grabs it, it gets shared to our mailing list, which is real estate agents, bankers, lawyers, Indian chiefs, and residents. We've got a lot of residents on our list these days from the chamber. Plus, we usually would load something like this, which I say that. We asked them to load, and the guy, there's three of us, Jim, Jimbo, and James. We all work in the same office. And you got it. I have great meetings, believe me. So anyway, sorry, Sarah. Anyway, the point is, we'll be able to get this out into the community. And that's because the real key now, if you're watching the news, and I do, and I'm into tourism, I spent almost 20 years in tourism, so I understand it. People are going to start coming into the area. They're not going to take off
Right.
500 miles like they used to. Doesn't mean it won't happen. But we need to fill and we've got enough stuff, neat stuff here, like the museums. The museums on the green are great. Connecticut Trolley Museum is running a lot of great programs. Our hotels could use some new business for sure. And our restaurants. So, I mean, this all just kind of fits in with what's happening. But I do agree, when we get a response, and we will, it's gonna be somebody that says this is Hokie. Well, we certainly would like some help with the template if somebody wants to step up. Until that time, we're providing the information we need to provide. And Sarah's, I agree with you. At some point, I'd like it where we could, I click on and link, but that's gonna require more permanent. And with that, you won't be able to change it. For instance, once we'll have to reach out to the hotels and the restaurants and say, this is a one-time thing, we're gonna load it in the computer. Send us your info by this date, or you're gonna be left out of being loaded. And I'm not against doing that at some point. We could put it right on our page, like we put any other document. But I wanted to try this out first and see if we get any response. Like I said, I put this out to what did I use? Oh, 5EV is coming. And nobody responded. That one, Jeff from Agnes Gallery is the only one that responded to that whole campaign. I just laughed because it was one more than I expected. So
5BB.
5 Village.
He doesn't like village visiting.
No, I just like 5BV. It reminds me of, remember the TV show Dragnet? And we used to do the mark. what is it, VII? But the guy would come on. with
Bed
the-
714.
So anyways, that's what's going on. Anybody got a problem with us going forward with this? I mean, we're not doing anything fancy. We're not spending any money.
I say thank you, Mr. Jim.
Yeah.
Well, no big deal.
Just correct that one typo you said you saw.
Well, I found it. It's down here. It says, I forgot. I spent a lot, you know me, how bad I am. So I spent a lot of time reading.
Certainly.
And then the one spot is right there, the parentheses. So,
Oh.
Circle it here, circle it. So you don't forget it.
No,
no, you know what? I'm gonna put it out there.
No,
Look at-
no,
no.
Oh, you guys are tough.
There you go.
Jim, dummy.
no.
There we go. There, now I marked it. Everybody happy? Okay.
You marked it, but make sure you correct.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's gotta get out of my car first.
Gil and I will call in a couple of
Yeah.
days.
Now that's teamwork, I'm telling you. All right, enough of the village visit. We did the transit, parking and walkability Broadbrook Center. I got really concerned in the last month since our last meeting. Because we were talking about this and they finished the sidewalk by the pond and they put the big, strong brown fence on the sidewalk. And for the last month, I've watched everybody and their brother jumping over that fence into the street to cut through the Broadbrook Opera House parking lot to get to that side of it. So I sat there and I'm going, oh my God, this is gonna be the best, because if we get walkability, which I really believe in square boxes, walkability, gotta be able to go up and around and come back. We gotta find a way to get an opening in that fence and maybe a little crosswalk, because somebody's gonna get hit. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
I watched the gentleman with, you know, the guy with the 3 dogs and the 2 dogs?
Mhm.
And he's an older guy, and he's always out watching his dogs, not bothering anybody, but I watched him the other day get on it. And he's going like this, trying to hang on to the dogs, and I'm thinking, oh my God, and you know, somebody comes zooming down Depot. So we need to suggest, and I'm glad Sarah's here, because I'm sure she'll
Mhm.
check it out, but we need to think about more ways to make that walkable. It also cut off the parking for Merlot, because the Opera House, their overflow parking has been up at Merlot, but those people are gonna walk in the nighttime
Mhm.
Out in the street.
out in the street, and you can't even leave the Opera House without being out in the street. Even if you came out and went down the front.
Yeah.
That there's no walk there.
That's right.
It's a very dangerous, and I'm not saying it because I think, oh, we should be scared, but I think we could find a more conducive thing. Especially when we have a village that's already walked, you know, we talk about Warehouse Point. This is a perfect walkability community. You know, from the Broadbrook Library, if things go on at the end of the street that we're hoping. I mean, this is gonna be a place where people are gonna wanna come park their car and get out. Hopefully, you know, like the gallery, maybe a few more of those. So anyways, that's my report on that. Did you all take a look at it at all, or? A little bit, Brian says.
It's that, yeah.
What's going on with the sidewalks down there and stuff? Did you look at Broadbrook Opera House and see how the traffic's flowing? If you go to the front of the Opera House, right by the post office,
Yeah.
where the tall grass is, you can see the path.
Oh, the shortcut.
Right.
To Dollar
Yeah,
General.
well, they're cutting through that post office parking lot, which again is a safety factor. And what happens if tomorrow Tom Coons and the family decide, well, we're gonna put a fence up? Which they have every right to do
Fence up where?
at the Opera House. They own the Opera House. It's privately owned. They can put a gate up.
Oh, okay.
And do you know how many people actually park there to do shopping? I mean, you gotta go there and watch. When I used to have my office in the bottom there, I used to come out all the time. One day I pulled in the handicap spot. Now, nobody's in the building, it's me, you know? So I pulled in there, I ran inside real quick to get something. I come out and there's a lady yelling at me because she wants to go to the Dollar General, but she wants to park in the handicap spot at the Opera House. I mean, that's what triggered me.
Where does she walk? Front of the Opera House? on that?
I think she just wanted to yell at me because I parked in the handicap spot, which I shouldn't have done. I was wrong. But again, this is why I say this is a situation that I think has now gone beyond a, you know, this would be nice thing to, maybe we should look at the safety factor. Because I saw that guy getting over with those dogs and I'm just thinking, you know, the way people drive on Depot, right or wrong, they come flying down, some kid looking at his cell phone instead of the road, that's right there, so.
You know, for crosswalks, I had mentioned to you earlier that the chief of police, I was on the commission, and I mentioned that the school across the street, the parking lot has an opening, those same kind of wooden thing, and they would walk through this opening and avoid down here at the crosswalk or up here at the crosswalk, right in the middle. And I says, can you put a crosswalk there? He says there are regulations for crosswalks, you know, so he explained it.
Well,
I
and
just think
again,
we're
this is something that maybe it has to be looked at, but if we get at least a hole in the thing halfway down, even if they don't put lines on the street.
Yeah.
But somehow opened it up just enough for two people. I mean, it wouldn't even have to be a car size, because you don't want cars and stuff. The bikes, they're not gonna care. They're gonna go on the outside, inside, wherever they wanna go anyways, but the people walking. And again, that's for the businesses in Broadbrook. You know, you really, you know, you get up here with Bobby's place, the Village Pizza, or the boutique. That's as dangerous to cross there, so the sidewalk doesn't do them any good. I mean, personally, if I was going there, I'd walk on the other side of the street, because I can at least walk on the grass or right up on the shoulder. And I won't have to cross Main Street, which is getting busier, guys. Just to warn you, I go to the post office every day, and I'm one of those people, I count cars. You know, oh, 5 passed me
You
today.
park on the street,
I park on the
you
street,
can look before you open the door.
absolutely. But I can tell you what comes through there, there's a lot of traffic now. And it's not, you know, in the past, people complain, well, it's trucks and this, oh, no, it's all kinds of traffic. So it's something I think that the town should look at. We certainly would get behind it. And if anybody comes up with a solution, let's talk about it again next month. Maybe we can do something about it. All right, zoning on Route 140.
I got a whole bunch of stuff for everyone. I'm sorry, Sarah.
Oh, no, it's
I
okay.
have these directly from my code book. If you don't look, I see it back.
No problem.
We've got a bunch of handouts for everybody. In the back of your agenda, there's a handout, which is just a little thing that Rose put together. I mean, Ruth, let's get Rose. Ruth put together, talking about basically that northern business corridor.
Right.
So yeah, the last 2 pages.
Yeah.
Gustavo have that?
No, I gave her mine. That was, the one I printed at home.
I have some notes here, but.
Do you have this paperwork there?
I think it's that one. I just don't have.
Well-
No problem. And then we passed out our cheat sheet because most of that corridor around 140 is B3,
Right.
which was created in 2012 out of the need, need base of different type businesses that are on 140.
Yeah.
And then what we printed for your own, just for your own use, also in 2012, when they did the POCD, Plan of Conservation and Development,
Yes.
they did a survey without the town and came up with what people were looking for design preferences, what they wanted to see kind of visually along there, and these were the results.
On the
We-
140.
I don't think this is only 140.
No,
I think
no, the survey and that, I remember.
The survey, yeah.
Yeah.
so, so that is, that design is. So we, of course, I mean, that's been 10 years and that's something that we're looking at and planning to try to put together
Well-
something again to get some ideas, but. And I apologize for going in circles, but this is all kind of connected and we want to take suggestions and discussion about it. What we're trying to do is not necessarily change zoning along that for businesses, but see, we've been working on kind of changing some of the regulations that relate to what you need as a special use permit to be a business on 140. And so the cheat sheet that I gave everyone is what the B3 right now, this lists what you need when you need a special use permit.
Well, and I think since we brought it up, because I have a little different viewpoint than a planner, so just to warn you. But these are your other business zones, guys. Look at what they've done to 140. These are all the regulations and they're all, in my opinion, anti-development, okay? There is some reason for certain things, but when you have a retail establishment moving into, I made these copies myself, I'm glad to believe it. These are all on the town website. I'm pleasantly surprised by that, because I actually did my research. I didn't have to read. But the real truth is, the B2 would fit in here, and actually, what they were trying to do was control what went in there. If you look, I believe car dealerships are in there. They've got ridiculously a lot of things, which means anybody coming into town that wants to build on 140, they're subject to a special permit. What that means is, if you want to open a retail establishment at best, and certainly correct me if I'm wrong, but this has been my past experience. And somebody doesn't like you and shows up for that special permit that you just paid 300, is it?
It's $300, yes.
It's $300 off a brand new business and doesn't like your business. You may have a problem with planning and zoning. Because a special permit requires them to approve it.
Mhm.
Planning and zoning.
Right,
And so what I was starting to say is the new regulation that we're working on is to eliminate some of these special use permits. Now, on this list, you're gonna see some that are always gonna have it no matter what. There's
Right.
alcohol. If you are a car, or auto sales or repair place, because that involves different chemicals that are involved, that involves different noise buffering. So some of these are not gonna change, but for other ones, if somebody is moving into,
that's no,
yeah, okay, so if they're, and I'm still new.
that's right, that's right. I was
Let's
trying
say
to-
there's a cafe there and someone wants to put a retail establishment. We're not gonna make them go through a special use permit. What we're gonna look at is, okay, it's not gonna affect parking. That's basically what it's gonna do. If it's something that's completely different in scope, that's gonna affect the parking, that's gonna affect the area, that's gonna affect if there's a drive-through. I mean, that involves ingress, egress, traffic flow in the parking lot. If it's something that is not going to affect anything of that nature, they would do a basic site plan review. Site plan review does not require a public hearing. And if it is a basic site plan review, it can go through just the office, so it'll be administrative in nature. And then, like I said, this is what we're looking to do, is to try to eliminate some of these. And it's going to obviously have to be something where we incorporate a case-by-case basis, because and that's my next point. We're constantly encountering things in our regulations where we're like, okay, that makes sense in a lot of ways, but this particular situation does not make any sense whatsoever. As an example, we had someone trying to license their dogs. They just like dogs, they have dogs. But if you have 4 or more, you need a kennel license. They don't have a kennel. They don't use them, to board or to train or to hunt or to breed. They just like dogs. So we come across these little situations where we go, oh yeah, this doesn't make sense. We have a list. I don't, this is not something I passed out, but just to
Who
show
says,
you.
who says it doesn't make sense and we can take it off? Who says that?
Who says what?
Who says that? Say $4 they're just pets, so we're not gonna require that they have a kennel license. Who would make that decision?
Well, that's the thing. We would have to, that was just an example of something we come across and say,
If you did.
well, this doesn't fit. That would be something we would try. We would have to go, and it's an entire process when you change a
You go
regulation.
through the board of.
Yeah, we would have to, first, we would come up with something we thought was wanted to
Wrong.
do to change. We would have to pass it through, it goes to our legal, it goes to, depending on which department that will be affected by it, goes before the selectmen, of course. We get the input on that. It's gotta be workshopped, whether there's a specific commission, like tonight, we're gonna, talk about, take suggestions of what you think we should do. Then it would go before the planning and zoning commission to kind of chit chat about, we officially have to put it before CROG, which is, I always forget the name. Capital Region Council of Governments. They have to officially approve it, saying this fits in with what our regional planning goals are. They approve it, we can officially put it through the planning and zoning, which has to have a public hearing. So it's an entire process. So that's why we keep notes when we come across things. So we can do this many regulations are gonna go on the thing tonight to change X, Y, Z, but not do one, so even to remove. So this is something we're in the process of working on, but it's because it's such a long process. We don't want to just do it by itself. We're gonna put it in with all these other, try to get it in there and get it. We're trying to be more effective to get these things passed sooner than rather than one new regulation. If it's something small like a kennel license versus you just have 4 dogs, we don't want to have to go through a whole entire process and have other ones wait to be, on an agenda.
These right now are in effect,
These
and I agree with Jim.
right now, are on
Oh,
effect.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. We are trying to make changes. It's just an
That's why
entire
I'm trying to
process
do something.
that has to be voted on by so many different people. So that's what we're in the middle of, and we'd like to hear suggestions as to what you would like to see possibly in this new regulation, what kind of suggestions you may have, being that the 140
For
corridor
instance,
is a
if you're
concern.
a developer and you come in and you have this much against you, you're not gonna develop. It's
Yeah.
that simple.
Right,
It's gonna
We wanna
cost me too much money. If you're a little, it's the same thing she's got. I copied that right up. there.
yeah. We want to try to be friendlier, so people want to come in.
I'm not understanding then, if we're talking about it, B2 seems to be very lenient against some of the silly stuff, yet still retaining the drive-through and everything.
Right,
Why would we not, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, why are we not changing this business zone back to
well,
B2?
that was the whole thing, is before it was changed to be free, so we're going kind of
Well,
This is like-
I understand. and the
That's
people
what, they didn't, they
before-
weren't happy with this
Well, the
before.
people
which is how
before
this was
thought,
created.
they didn't realize that the
Right.
economy was gonna do what it's doing.
Right, yeah,
They thought that getting people to build, they were gonna build Taj Mahals and
Right,
everything was
yeah.
gonna be beautiful. Now we're down to reality.
exactly.
No one's
But it's-
spending that money.
It's
anymore.
something to try to look at it from a different perspective rather than flip flopping. So maybe some of this, maybe some of it will be changed, but some of it just depending on other factors in the zoning would
Okay.
have to stay, say, B3. And maybe some of it will be rezoned to B2. I don't know what this. is
What's the
gonna
time
end
frame
up.
for this to get moving along? Because I'll tell you what, I stood there and the way I learned that it was still, I thought it had been changed back already, so I was incorrect.
No, we're trying to.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I'm an old man, I thought it got changed, okay? It didn't. And then when I'm standing there with a new business owner
Mhm.
who's doing his grand opening, cutting his ribbon, and he says to me, so why is the town ripping me off for 300 more bucks?
Yeah,
I'm coming into a building that's retail. What was here before was a farm stand. I'm selling dog treats. Why in God's name are we
Right.
charging? We should pay him $300, okay? to
and,
come
and
in.
under what we're trying to do for the
Okay.
regulation, I would say, okay, there's not gonna be parking effect. It's still retail to retail. He's not, adding chemicals. He's not, anything that usually would come into what we look at it for a site review. Traffic, noise,
But
anything.
the length of time that this is now gonna take.
And
is
that's
what
something
concerns
I
me.
asked Ruth specifically with that. It's not it's not specifically on one group. It's the matter of how much time it takes for each group to kind of go through and work out the kinks. That's the problem, because we cannot give it to CROG until everyone's had a say in the matter. So on our end, we've got a lot of it, what we want to do, kind of written out in a very loose draft. That's why I
Okay.
wanted to take some suggestions to put in, so we can start getting it out there. I mean, I don't know how long the town takes for regulations. I haven't experienced to change in a regulation.
I
since I've been
changed the
here.
regulation at zoning. It took me hard work. That's why I'm saying, I'm more
Yeah.
interested. I get where you're going.
Mhm.
I have confidence in what you're saying because Ruth knew what I meant.
Oh,
So,
yeah, absolutely.
ooh,
She's,
But we need to do something quickly because as time goes by, South Windsor might open up again to start building.
right,
Joe Smith might go to Enfield, who's got their act together to build the medical building we need on 140, so our people aren't driving to Farmington. You
Right,
See where I'm
right.
coming from?
oh, I absolutely.
This
do.
is stopping progress.
Right,
We need to do something, so.
and we
I
intend
trust
to
that.
do it as fast as we possibly can, but we can only go as fast as, like I said, the
And-
decisions get
and
made, so.
That's why I say, I'm just looking to make sure that this process, it's going to be on our agenda. And I
Mhm.
kind of want to hear an
Yeah.
update and let
And
Ruth
then-
know, it's not to pick on you,
Yeah,
but if you run into a problem, we want to know so we can talk to that commission.
well, and the other thing that we were going to talk about a little bit is that we're also looking to see, now that we've started more progress toward redoing Windsor House Point, that whole,
Warehouse Point,
Windsor House-
yeah, that's
Windsor
right.
Point, Warehouse Point.
It's one of our 5 villages. You
No, no,
can
no, no,
visit it.
and I live there.
Me
Warehouse
too.
Point. So with that and the revitalization of Warehouse Point, they're also trying to kind of use that as an example of how we can then work with, Broadbrook Village, in these other areas of town. And they're looking for something it's not fairly new, but it's fairly starting to become a bit common in other towns and cities, which is a form-based code. And now this could be another way around this. A form-based code, to make it very simple, is based on design, kind of architecture layout. So it wouldn't be necessarily, it would be something that's not going to change. So if you're coming in as a business, it kind of eliminates the special use permit. You're going into the same, that parking is not going to change. So if you're coming in with something where you're like, oh, I need 50 parking spots, well, then you're not going to be able to go into space. It's going to be, so we're trying to work on that for Warehouse Point, because that's going to be a walkable type.
Right.
That's what we're looking for, more of a.
140 is not good.
No, but
Right.
they're looking at a light form-based code. So it would be something a little more concentrated in, say, Broadbrook or say Warehouse Point. Something that's a bit larger, that would be a little bit more loosely based. It wouldn't be so structured as specific.
Right, but in the meantime, our
So
Route
that's what,
140.
that was just another option,
Well,
yeah.
the 140's got several problems up there. It doesn't have water. We're trying to get the water
Right.
up there. The only way we're gonna get water up there is if we get people interested And the
Yeah.
only way someone's gonna be interested is if we start getting rid of the special permits. Now,
Yeah.
in the meantime, what does Bastille Plaza do? What do we say to Ali when he says, well, now, all my tenants, when I rent, they're gonna pay $300? Because that's what it is.
Right.
Now, if you, like this dog, the dog person, whatever, if he came to the town, he could have requested like a waiver or anything for that, or an
It's
exception.
not,
that kind of stuff, no?
it's not so much a waiver, whereas if
Or
he's
exception.
an opinion, you could go to the zoning board of appeals, but that's still.
You're not gonna
So
let
it's a-
Yeah.
It's a term no.
So it's kind of, yeah, that's
So
why
no
we are
flexibility.
very, very much aware. And then that's another thing about the water. We need to get the businesses in that can afford to attach
Convince,
into the
to
sewer
convince
system.
Connecticut Water
and
and
connect,
Pura that
yeah.
we need to do it.
We want
But
that.
we're
to
not
come
gonna
in.
get them
So
looking
that's
at
the
that.
first step. The first step
I
is.
owned a restaurant in Bassdale Plaza, which was the previous restaurant, and we still had to get a
Yeah.
special use permit from restaurant to
So
restaurant.
We're definitely.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
That's
It's
because of
ridiculous.
Because some
So
of
that's
the-
It's
the
really,
way the
it's,
zoning is written.
and it's written by people that don't want things to change. That's what I have to say. In 2012, I attended these surveys. I watched it all. I've been around for a long, long time. And let me tell you, this I didn't like. I thought it was gonna get changed with time. It hasn't. So now we're behind an 8 ball because we're ready to promote. We're ready to, Bastille Plaza wants to expand.
Mhm.
That's gonna delay.
Right.
And we cannot afford delay. This time is up. We lost ground when the casino was here because of this kind of possibility. People were looking at stuff, and I guarantee some of this delayed. Some people may be jumping in that might have been here now. We have a commercial tax base, which is where it should be. Residents will start seeing, if we can keep this going, residents might, they won't see a lowering of taxes, but they'll see a stabilization and still get the services they want. So this is a bigger thing than just, let's fix zoning, and that's why I get a little passionate about it.
No,
because-
no, and we're aware, and I mean, the entire department's a brand new administration, so we come in, we see this, we know it needs to be fixed, but our hands are also tied with regulations and how you. the
Ruth
process
gave me the
works.
best answer when she says, I didn't like it either. Okay,
Yeah,
so I know
We
we're
are
all,
very much aware.
but let's
Yeah.
light the fires under the other
Absolutely.
people that need to be involved. I know our involvement is limited.
well, we want suggestions, of course.
Well.
if you have, Oh, I know.
Yeah, watch out.
I mean, you're.
Watch out what you
She's
ask
walking
for.
a dangerous path, right?
I know.
We're on the same page, for sure. We absolutely.
I think
100%
our
agree.
commission,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
are
no,
on the same
no,
page.
and I'm a little passionate, so don't get upset. I'm like this. I'm just saying what we should do then is let you all continue your work. But we'd like an update each month where the status of that is. And if you run into roadblocks, we want to assist you in removing them.
Yeah, and
Okay?
then our roots definitely on board.
And let's make sure everybody understands that this is not the way to do business.
Oh, no, we
You
are
know,
100%
This,
aware.
and I get the things with drive-throughs, people will tell you, I fought for A-Frames. I'm the guy that changed it that we could have it. And they kept, people said, well, the corner of Sophia's Plaza, I said, I don't want it on the corner, that's a safety concern. You gotta be able to see around the corner.
Yeah,
But the guy back at the, what was it, the Subway now, but it was Blimpies, he got fined for having a banner on the wall. Okay, these are the things we need to look at, but in the meantime, when I get a brand new business who's gonna be paying taxes, and I'm standing there with the new owner of Bastille Plaza, and this is all being said, and I'm going, oh, I don't know what to say, I thought it had all been fixed. I mean, there's certain things, obviously, drive-throughs,
alcohol,
you
that's the
know,
same thing.
and the auto places, you're right, there's chemicals, I mean, there's.
Live
reasons-
theater,
Right,
there's some that are just
which,
never gonna come
which
off
if
this
you
list,
want to
but
open
there's
a
other
live
ones that-
theater, we're not saying no, but you gotta go through a
Right,
process.
yeah.
Live theater, outdoor,
I think
concerts,
live- Oh, I think
like
that-
we have. But that's not. a business.
We can have more.
I think it depends where. it is. To me,
Disneyland
that's
has all
ideal,
kinds of things.
But you have it at, Sophia's.
They have villages too, by the
I
way.
think
That's
so.
why I'm laughing about the 5 village. Disney World has 5 villages,
Yeah,
okay?
Now, medical and dental laboratories, special permit for that, like,
and
that what we want?
I'm not 100% up on medical, but I think that, while it's biohazard, there's certain things that,
Okay.
I
that
didn't want those buildings
It's not-
going in unless they have control
yeah,
of the
they're-
design.
there are other things, we have design, there are things that are also, we're under, there are certain things in permits we cannot sign off on until the health department signs off on.
Fitness
So if they say
centers
no,
and-
that's not our,
This basically eliminated anything from going on 140 unless somebody looked at it and said, we judge it to be worthy. And
Well,
that's in the eye of the beholder, and that's where I have a problem,
Where are we since the sewers?
right here.
Yeah.
And that does not.
Ali, we got Ali. that's-
Well, and he's luckily, he's bought Bastille Plaza because
Yeah.
when Mr. Bass died, his sister-in-law Helen took over with the brother, and their whole interest was to get out. Ali wants to expand the plaza.
Yes, he does.
And if you ever talk to Pat Susi at length across the street at Golden Gavel, you'd understand some of these things are hindering him from doing things. There's other people that own land up there. I won't speak for them because I don't know what they want to do. But if I came in and I wanted to put something on 140 and I wanted to just do a catering establishment, not even people coming in, no drive-through, just a catering, I would have to get a permit for that.
yeah.
Okay, that's, to me, that's beyond, if the chemicals, the safety things, all that stuff. But, and those plazas up there, they're pretty much, to rent to somebody, you might as well say, well, give me your first month's rent, your rent, your security, and oh, by the way, here's $300 to the town for nothing. And that's what galls me.
Say restaurant to restaurant.
Yeah.
That's true.
I
It
mean,
should be
yeah.
like for like, I mean, there's no reason.
And it was a few years ago, so it's, I don't remember everything, but the sign, like, we had same exact size sign, everything, and then had to pay, I think it was like 150 or $175 for a sign permit.
Right.
And it's the same size, we didn't change anything about it, just put a new sign for the name of our business, but it was like, permit for this, permit for that, and it was a restaurant previously, so it's not like you were changing the type of use of the place.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not just the town. I found out about sewers, for instance, the sewer commission is gonna start promoting the fact, or find a way, not promoting the company, but letting people know, when you get into the sewer line, here's the street you own from here to your building. So when it blows up, guess what? That's your problem, not the commission's.
Mm.
And that's why I say that it's a matter of finding out information and making it better for everybody. This case here, we've all been promoting 140, me foolishly, because I should have read, I know better. I didn't, I thought some of these had been cleaned up. But anybody coming in, well, I'm gonna build something there. Well, wait a second, you gotta get a special permit. What do you mean? Well, not only do I gotta get a special permit, that usually involves extra hearings or something, right?
Well, a special permit always has to have a public hearing, a site plan. So if someone was coming in to build a site, build something new that was permitted in that area, they would still have to go through a site plan review. A site plan review in front of the commission does not require a public hearing, but once you accept an application, there's 15 days where someone can come forward from the public and say, we want a public hearing. And then you have that.
But here's
So, like,
how-
yeah, and these
here's-
are based on state statutes too, as to how, depending on which type of government you have to operate. So.
But when you hear some businesses coming in and they gotta have a special permit and you're anti-growth, that's like putting a red flag on the poor guy. And that's what this is all about. I'm not against safety things, and again,
Oh, yeah.
you heard me say, why don't we just flip it to B2? Because that covers a lot more opportunities and does cover a lot of what you were discussing, safety, chemicals, what are they using? Okay, well, that sounds like you guys are working. I don't want to
Oh,
beat the
yeah,
dead horse.
we're definitely on your page. I
And-
mean, we're on-
And we'd
You're
like
on
to be
Jim's
up there.
radar.
And we're, like I said, open.
That is a bad place to be.
No, we are open. to
I'm one of those
suggestions. We wanna
weirdos goes home and thinks about it.
We want to
right?
fix this too. We want new businesses. We
Well,
want people to come in that can afford to connect to that sewer line, and the water keeps growing along 140. So right now, you get to a certain point,
oh,
I think
it's
it's the normal
irritating.
gas station,
Yeah.
where it's like
it's
that
just-
kind of end point, and
Yeah.
we keep trying to get people that like, if they have a big, you can extend this.
And we
give them
bugged
money to do that.
Years
That's
ago,
awesome.
when we put the sewer in, I remember Lori Whitten was the town planner, we had a big event at Lenotes. And we had the water company there, and we're sitting with the ground guys, the guys that are on the ground
Right.
and everything. And they point blank said to us, we agree,
Yeah.
water should go up, but you gotta convince Cura. And Cura, or I think it's Cura, they don't want to do it because of the cost factor and the return. So right now, if I'm sitting on Cura and I read your zoning laws for this,
Mhm.
I'd say,
You need the big business to get it extended, then you get all the little businesses that
well,
can just
but the
buy
big
in.
business is gonna come in and go.
I know, that's what we gotta get.
We're in public trading. Anyway, that's, we got investors to
Right, well,
keep tax.
but
Oh, we
Pura
want it.
controls it, Pura, because they want to control rates and it's a
What's
fight.
that acronym? What's that? Public utilities, something,
Some regulatory,
yeah,
something.
which is deep now.
Well, they
changed
all don't,
They changed their
they
name.
don't care about East Windsor, their job's to worry about the bigger picture, ours is to worry about the slow picture. Okay, sounds like we got things going. We do want to get an update on that.
Oh, yeah,
Every
absolutely, I
month.
know.
Let Ruth know, we're not
Yeah.
looking to start trouble, but
No, she's aware. She said it was a very, very big issue that we're all trying to get
I
moving.
I
So
thought
she's
so.
very much aware of it, very
Excellent.
much on the same page as everyone.
All right. Then moving on, because I ran my meeting much longer than I usually do. Did we have any requests from the selectmen's office? We just have that on our list. Sarah, nothing coming from you guys that we can help with, okay? Any other economic issues? Gil, I told you something on the phone I wanted to add to next month's agenda. Do you remember what it was? I was so busy laughing and sort of.
Yeah.
Well, I'll think of it when I make the agenda, but we're doing real good, I think. And with that, have you got anything, Brian?
I can't remember.
Sorry.
About the shortcut. It's ridiculous.
I just don't want anybody to get killed trying to cross that street. I worry about stupid stuff. Okay, with that, Gil, nothing else from you?
Nothing for me, except for the Yankees started about 20 minutes ago.
Uh-oh.
Not recording it?
I do. But I got a brother-in-law, he calls up and gives me updates.
They wrote it, right?
With that, can I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll say,
All in favor?
Uh,
Excellent.
good talk.
Someone's gonna
Quick.
stop
And
the
our next
recording,
meeting,
right?
It's the day after 4th of July, right?
July 4th, that's a week.
Because July 4th is on a Monday.
Is everybody gonna be in town?
Let me see. I think I'm gonna.